Hello everybody. So a quick video today before the markets open in the US. Michael Saylor tweeted yesterday the buy signal. He flashed the buy signal. We know he usually tweets this Saylor tracker, changed the dots to the orange dots this time. Saylor is likely going to announce a big buy. And why do I say that? Because he had a successful offering of the new perpetual stock, the perpetual preferred stock, the new preferred stock that Saylor is issuing, which is called Strife, ticker symbol STRF. This is one of the stocks on which he's going to do an ATM. He's going to do ATM on STRK and on STRF. We know that on STRK, the ATM is going to be up to $21 billion. My guess is that he's going to announce probably sometime this week or next week, an over $21 billion ATM plan on STRF, just like he did on STRK. And many of my viewers are going to be very happy about that because it means he doesn't do the ATM on the common stock anymore. He now does the ATM on the preferred going forward. At least, hopefully, most of the ATM is going to be done on the preferred. We'll see if STRF is that. But anyways, I expect a major buy, a major Bitcoin buy this Monday because of the amount of money that he raised, $722 million. So, of course, these videos, my updates, are very little here. The only update I want to tell you is the price to NAV. So let's calculate the price to NAV. This time we're going to do it back of the napkin like I used to do it back in the day. So we have right now on the balance sheet of $499,000 before the update. He bought, in my view, I mean, based on the price of Bitcoin of $84,000, that would be about 8,600. Remember, this week Bitcoin acted more like a stable coin. It was trading around 84 the whole time. So that would be roughly about 8,600 Bitcoin for a total of 507,821 Bitcoin. So that means that we are finally breaking the 500,000 Bitcoin mark. Remember what I've said before about this. Once we cross the 500,000 mark, what's going to happen? All the news media is going to broadcast it, talk about it, saying, oh, now Saylor owns 500,000 Bitcoin. That's a headline-worthy number. Saylor crosses 500,000 Bitcoin. This is going to bring some attention to the stock, in my view. That would bring up the total of Bitcoin owned by MSTR, a total of now 43 billion USD. And of course, how do we calculate price to NAV? Well, there's different ways to calculate it. The way that really the MSTR community has calculated it most of the time is market cap over Bitcoin and net asset value, Bitcoin NAV. So market cap, right? The market cap is 79 billion right now before the trading opens this Monday. And if he has 43 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin, like I think he will, that would mean that the price to NAV at open is close to a 1.83. Now, if you use enterprise value to NAV and you do the same calculation, and enterprise value, of course, adds back the debt, adds back the preferred, on which there is not a lot of preferred right now, only 742, these numbers are going to change. We would just be an EV over NAVs, right? So enterprise value to NAV of just a 2.04. So a little slightly more expensive. And of course, I've screened these numbers from the Saylor website. You can see MicroStrategy is still mostly an ATM story. MicroStrategy is not a debt story yet. It was a debt story back 3 to 4 years ago when we were discussing it, but today MicroStrategy is mostly a net asset value premium and monetization story. Monetization of as a premium, printing that $1 bill for $2 or $3. In the case of the common, that would be printing a single dollar bill for $1.83. In the case of a preferred, that's much higher, as I've highlighted in my prior video, higher than a 3, right? I had made the calculation back of the napkin calculation for the preferred at a 3.5 equivalent of price to NAV when you're going to issue the NAV. So printing $1 for $3.50. So it's mostly an ATM story today. The debt ratios are more than reasonable at 11% over market cap and 21% over Bitcoin NAV, which means that, really, if anything, worst case case scenario were to happen, just sell a little bit of a Bitcoin and redeem one of your debt that matures. And the maturity, I'm not going to go through that here, but it's well staggered, right? Not all of a debt is due every single year. And of course, the beauty of a perpetual stock like the Strife one is, of course, that it's perpetual, so it's in the long run. You do not get repaid. You just own Strife and you resell it on the second-hand market, on the secondary market. You own something that's closer to a stock than you own something that is close to a bond. I wanted to briefly talk about the price to NAV over time. Is MicroStrategy cheap right now? Well, you may remember about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I couldn't stop talking about MicroStrategy because the price to NAV, you can see on 2025, March 2nd, 2025, that was a 1.4x, 1.4 times. You can see the peak of the NAV, and I get a lot of bad commentary about people who bought at the peak of the NAV. That was a 3.4 price to NAV. That was on November 20th. That was the peak of the NAV. Now, this chart, an MSTR tracker, kudos to them for publishing this chart. This chart, I didn't screenshot back in the early days of MicroStrategy, right? The 2021, the 2022, but it went well above a 10 price to NAV back in those days. I don't think we'll get back in those days, but can we get back past above a 2 again? Easily, in my view, especially as the BTC dollar gain is advertised right now. The price to NAV is a 1.86. So you can see the discount we were getting 3 weeks ago. That discount is largely gone, but we're still getting a major discount on the price to NAV compared to November 20th of 2024. Still getting a major discount. I will conclude this video quickly discussing some of the proxies. So remember, this is before the market open right now. So some of these prices, if Bitcoin holds 85 or goes up, some of these prices may go up a little bit. But you can see, really, MSTR is really, in my view, looking good compared to a lot of the miners. Like if I compare to CleanSpark, for example, CleanSpark is much more expensive at a 2.19 NAV. My favorite proxy play right now, still a minor position compared to my MSTR, is still Mara. Why? Because Mara has adopted the convertible bond strategy. I could talk also about Riot. Riot has done a similar strategy, but Mara is really still trading at some of the lowest we've seen. If I were to show you the same chart here for Mara, it would be close to the bottom. The bottom was 1.07-ish X price to NAV for Mara. It's now trading at a 1.1 price to NAV. The market largely does not know how to value the miners, but nonetheless, the miners have been disappointing, as is becoming a habit on this channel. Let me show you the long-term performance of these miners. So you can see over 4 years and a half, CleanSpark versus MicroStrategy. You can see that over 4 years and a half, MicroStrategy returned 99.59% average annual return, so per year for 4.5 years. Absolutely outstanding, better return than NVIDIA. CleanSpark didn't beat the NASDAQ. CleanSpark is at a 3% average annual return. So CleanSpark, has been dragging the performance of MicroStrategy, and a lot of it has to do with that capital expense, with the dilution needed to buy those new miners. But the miners, in theory, when you look at everything, they should pop harder, or they should pop more when the price of Bitcoin spikes. But those miners now really need the price of Bitcoin spikes because the difficulty is relentless. The difficulty is going up. When I look at Mara, if you look at the long-term performance of Mara, and remember, Mara 4 years ago had, some of the better miners. Now the miners at Mara are older, but they haven't done the capital expense and say a CleanSpark has done, and they've been able to achieve the returns. Now Mara is 28.8% average annual return each year over the past 4.5 years. So the performance of Mara is more than respectable. It's been excellent. You've beat the NASDAQ, but of course, compared to MicroStrategy, it hasn't been good because MicroStrategy still has returned close to 100% per year for the past 4.5 years. Do I think the miners have one last spike when Bitcoin spikes? I think so. And this will be a question for me And this will be a question for, I'm sure, a lot of people in the community. What do we do with the miners? Do we sell some of the miners? How do we monetize them when the bounce is coming back? So anyways, I look forward to a nice open this Monday morning. This was not investment advice, not financial advice. This is just entertainment, only entertainment. I hope you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X, like, comment. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.